Yeah, I don't know why TikTok took my sound off my first part one, so I'm going to retell this part one. I'm gonna try my best to use words that TikTok like, cause obviously they ain't like the words that I was using in my last video. All right, so part one on how my mom unalived my baby brother. All right, so this was back in 2003, back in February of 2003. I was 10, my brother was 5, and my mom unalived him. It was a normal day, and my brother, he was getting ready to start kindergarten soon. So my mom was just going over some, a few things with him. And for this particular day, she wanted to go over his numbers. And she was asking him to count to 20. And she was asking him repeatedly to count to 20. And every time he would count to 20, he would skip the number 16. I don't know what it was about that number 16, but he would miss it every time he would count to 20. He would say 15, 17, 18. He would skip 16. And I don't know why he was doing it. Okay, so each time he was miss the number 16, she would hit him and tell him to start over. He'll start over, miss it again. She hit him again. And it wasn't just no hit, like a little simple hit. This was like hits. I remember she used a wooden broomstick. She used the little curtain rod thing, the little thingy you put the curtain, you slide the curtain thing in, those, the old school kind, the white ones. She used that one. She used that. Anything that was hard that she could find, she was hitting him with it. So as I mentioned, that went on all day. I'm talking about all day from sun up to sundown. Imagine getting beat on all day long. So she asked me to go help him, go practice with him, and come back. So we go in my room. We practice. I asked him to count. And y'all, he would literally say 16 with me. I don't know. Maybe my mama was just scaring him. Or, I don't know. But he was doing it when he was saying it with me. So I'm like, okay, y'all, so you got it. So just go back out there and just count normal. 15, 16, just, you got these. Okay, so I'm like, mama, I think he got it now. He know it. So he count. He missed it again. He missed the number again. So at this point, my mama, I guess she's frustrated. So we was already staying in Mississippi at the time. If you from Mobile, you know Mississippi from Mobile is maybe about a good hour drive. So she said, yeah, let's go. Let's go ride to Mobile. So I proceed to get in the front seat. But she like, no, let your brother get in the front seat. So I'm like, all right, get in the front seat. So I get in the back seat. And the whole ride from Mississippi to Mobile, my mama is literally smashing my brother's head on the window, like angry, mad that he was missing that number 16. And I'm just like, this lady is crazy. Like, it ain't that serious, mama. But I'm a child, so I really can't say that. Okay, so we make it to Mobile. We make it to this house. Me and my brother sat in the car. We stayed in the car while she go in the house. We maybe sat in the car maybe about 10, 15 minutes. Now, mind you, I'm only 10 years old, so I don't know what she's doing in the house or why we're there. But later on, I did find out that there was a drug house that she was at. And I'm assuming she came back to Mobile to get her fix. But I didn't find that out till later on. But we're going to get to that point. Okay, so she get back in the car. We head back to Mississippi. So once we made it back to Mississippi, my brother gets out the car. Now, mind you, he been getting beat on all day. So he's a little disoriented when he get out the car. He's like falling over. He can barely walk because his head is swelled up so big from all the beating to the head. All the blows to the head. So I go to help him get up off the ground, but my mama like, no, leave him. He can do it. He can walk in the house, on his own. Okay, so we make it back into the house. She tell him to go lay down, because he's weak. He can't take no more. Like, it's nothing else she could do to him. He's had enough. So I'm guessing since she done got her little fix, she still amped up. Like, she still got energy. She tells me to go get my schoolwork. So I get my schoolwork. Mind you, Mississippi work is totally different from Mobile work. It was difficult to me. So all my work was wrong. So once she see that my work is wrong, she pursues to beat on me. She's beating on me with the broomstick. Now she's hitting on me. And I really believe to this day that my brother saved my life, because hadn't he had what he did when it happened, then my beating would have been on and on and on and on, just the way she did to my brother. But as she's beating on me, she hears my brother start coughing. So once he started coughing, she took her attention off me and, went to go see what's going on with him. But at this point, when she go down there, he's not responsive. He ain't responding back to her. So once he's not responding, she goes into full panic mode. She like, go get me a wet towel, go get me some drink, go get me some juice, hurry, 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 hurry. So I'm like running around the house. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So she calls my stepdaddy and tell him that he needs to get to the house. She think, something. She did something, and she need him to come back to the house. So I help her get my brother in my bed. I help her put him in my bed. And y'all, my brother looked so different from that morning to the evening. He was a totally different person. Like, I have never seen somebody change the way they look in just a short amount of time. Like, so my stepdad come home. He see what she done. He like, Tawanda, what is this? Like, what did you do? So she like, I went too far. Like, it went too far. So he's trying to do CPR. He's doing compressions. He's doing mouth to mouth. But I'm knowing this not gonna work because he kind of been unconscious for a minute. And I know normally you have to kind of do that stuff quickly. And when I seen that he had urinated on himself and blood was coming out his nose, y'all, I knew from that moment my brother was gone. My innocent baby brother was gone. He was no longer here with me no more. And it's so much to this story, y'all. Like, it's so many different parts, but this video is getting long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. But just comment, like, if you want me to do a part 2. Yeah. All right, y'all, I'm back with part 2 on how my mama unalived my baby brother. So once she realized that he just urinated on himself and the blood is coming out his nose, that's pretty much the end. So now she's crying. She's screaming all over the house. She don't know what to do. So at this point, she tells me to go in her room and go to bed. So I guess she don't want me to see, the next step and what she about to do. So I go to bed. And I wake up the next morning and I'm petrified. I'm scared. I'm scared to go in my room and look in my room because I know the night before that was the last place my brother was at. So I look in the room. I don't see him no more. I don't see him in my bed. So I'm like, what? What did she do with him? Where is he? And to this day, y'all, I'm a real detective. Like, I'm gonna find some stuff out. So as I'm walking through the house looking for the body, I see little carpet fringes on the floor. So when your carpet tear up, the little pieces of the carpet be on the floor. So I see a lot of those on the floor. So I'm thinking like, okay, whatever she did with my brother, it's something to do with some carpet. So my mama calls me into the living room, and she basically trying to coach me on what I'm gonna say when I go back to school. Because at this point, I've already missed 2 days of school. So I can't miss no more days of school. And she telling me, like, okay, you're going to go to school. You're going to say this. You're going to say that. In my mind, I'm like, you thinking this whole little story, you collaborate about the work? So after she get done coaching me on what I'm gonna take to the school, because more than likely the police are gonna come to the school because she's planning on reporting him missing. That was her story. Her story was he was missing. He ran away. That was a story that we both was gonna stick to. And she was coaching me throughout the day on when the last time I seen him so I could tell the school. So later on that night, I heard her on the phone with somebody. So, as a child, I'm listening on the side of the wall, eavesdropping. And that's when I realized that she and my stepdad, got rid of the body on their own. They disposed the body. So before I went to school that night, she actually rode by the crime scene. I'm assuming she wanted to see, like, did someone find the body before I go to school and telling this story that he ran away. So we riding. We get on the interstate in Mississippi. We get on the interstate. She pulls over on the side of the interstate. I stay in the car. I didn't get out the car. And then I see her go, when you pull over the interstate, it's the bridge, on the side you look down into. So she looked down over the bridge. So at this point, I know now it's something to do with carpet and the bridge. So I'm like, okay. She wrapped them up in carpet and she threw them over the bridge. That's my thought process. And that's actually what she did, y'all. My mama and my stepdaddy rolled my brother up into some carpet, put him in a trash bag, and threw him on the side of the bridge. Y'all, I'm going to try to insert some clips, not clips, but like some pictures of the articles and stuff like that. I'm going to try to do that on my part 3. So the next morning, it's time for me to go to school. So I go to school. Now, I don't know you remember in my part 1 when she started beating on me. So I had some bruises on my face, but my mom had covered up with makeup. But my teachers, they still ended up seeing my eye, my bruises through the makeup. So they ended up calling me to the office. I get called to the office, y'all. I get called to the office, and they say, your mom reported your brother missing, and we want to ask you some questions about it. And they want to ask me some questions. So I'm knowing this, this is coming, but I didn't know it was coming so soon. So I'm a child, I'm 10. So I'm literally trying to remember what my mama was practicing with me, the story. And y'all, I kid y'all not, I stuck to that story as long as I could. That the last time I seen him is that morning when I went to school, he was in the room. I stuck to that story. I went over it. I was telling them that over and over and over. But I'm guessing by the East Bend police officers, they have done this for so long. They know I'm lying. So they started trying to threaten me, saying that if I don't tell the truth, they're going to have me arrested. They're going to put me, they're going to take me to jail. So I'm like, what? But I don't care. I'm sticking to my story. He ran away. He missing. I don't know where he at. I don't know. So the officer said, give me a moment. Give me a moment. And he stepped out the room. When he stepped out the room, he came back with my auntie, my family member, my mama's sister. She came from Mobile to my school. And they gave us a moment to talk to they gave us some one-on-one time, just me and my auntie. So once my auntie come in the room, she asked me, she said, Tisha, with my nephew, what happened? What's going on? So I feel more comfortable to tell her the truth because this is my auntie. So I bust out. I told her the truth. I told her what it was. And when she went and told the police officer, she said, my niece got something to tell you. And I told the truth. I told what happened. And y'all, I kid you not, I heard the officer on his walkie-talkie. He say, we got the truth. Take her into custody. And from that day forward, I was 10 years old. I didn't see my mom again. I didn't see her. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, a hug, or nothing. Like, that was it. My mama was taken into custody. And to this day, y'all, I am 31 years old. My mama is still in prison to this day. They gave her life without parole. Like, she would never see daylight again. Like, ever. But going back to the part where she reported him missing, Do y'all know they real deal took that seriously? Like, they had dogs, they had helicopters. They was real deal looking for my brother, like searching through the woods, 'cause we stayed by some woods. And to know the whole time that this was a fake story, yeah, they was upset. They was really upset, them detectives. So, yep, they called in to the people, to the officers that was at the house with my mama, and they told her to take her into custody. And that was it. I didn't see my mama again. There is some part 3 on when she went to custody, and my next part of my stage is like what happened to me after that. So there is a part 3 that I do want to talk about. This one is getting kind of long, so that's part 2. So yeah, y'all comment if y'all want a part 3. Good morning, y'all. I haven't did my part 3 yet because I'm waiting until I can be in a different setting, y'all. I'm always at work. I work Monday through Sunday. Like, I'm never not at work, so I'm always sitting at my computer. So I'm trying to wait until I can give y'all a different background. But this comment right here, yes, it happened when I was 10 years old. But if some of you know the law, baby, you cannot go in a courtroom at 10 years old. I had to be 13 years old when I went to court and testified against my mother. Okay, but trust me, y'all, I will answer all these questions in the comments in my part 3 later on today. But yes, this person is correct. I was 13 years old when I went to court and testified. I'm going to get into all that. So y'all just please stay tuned, okay? Okay, y'all, so part 3 on how my mom unalived my baby brother. So after I told the police what happened, I told them the truth. They then took my mom into custody. Once they took her into custody, I didn't see her until I was 13 years old. So I didn't see my mom for 3 years after I told them the truth. They took her into custody. Then they went to my stepdad's job and they took him into custody. No, he was not my brother's dad. He was just a boyfriend, my mom's boyfriend. So once he gets taken into custody, he was offered a bond. He was able to get a bond. And he made his bond. My mama did not get a bond. They never granted her a bond. She had to sit. She had to sit in there. I'm assuming because of the stint, you know, what she did. He was just an accessory to the crime, so he did get a bond. But he never got a chance to make it to the trial because he was found dead. I mean, he was found unalived. I hope TikTok don't take my video down. But he was found unalived. We don't know to this day whether he unalived himself or someone unalived him. But he was found unalived at his job. And the way they found him, y'all, was so disturbing. They found him in some water. They don't know whether he threw himself in the water or somebody pushed him in the water. But he was a skeleton. When they found that man's body in the water, he had deteriorated. His body had deteriorated so bad. All he had left on his body was an ear. Like, and I'm still curious to know, like, did you just feel bad and just fell in the water, or did somebody push him in the water? Like, that's still a puzzle in my brain. They never figured it out. So once they took my mom into custody, they left me nowhere to go because I could not go with my mama's side of the family. I had to go into the system. I had to go into foster care. Y'all, so when I went into foster care, they tried to contact my biological father to let them know what was going on. Now, mind you, and to give y'all a backstory about my dad, y'all, it was very different for me because I didn't grow up with my dad. I only was raised by my mama, so I didn't really have a good relationship with my dad. So I was thinking, Lord, I'm going to be in this system forever. He is not coming to get me because all I ever known growing up that he didn't care about me. He got remarried, had another family, and wasn't studying me. That's all my mama ever instilled into me as a child, that my dad don't love me. He don't care about me. He got a wife with other kids. He ain't studying me. And that was a lie. My daddy loves me. He came and got me from Mississippi. He came and got me out that foster care, baby. I probably was in the system maybe 2 days, if that. And my dad didn't even know my mama had moved us to Mississippi. He was just so confused. And that wasn't me and my brother. We had different daddies, so that was not his son either. My mom actually didn't even know his dad. Well, she thought she knew his dad, but kind of find out that wasn't even his daddy. The man she thought was his daddy. So my brother don't know who his daddy. He didn't know who his daddy was. Well, we don't know who his daddy is. Put it like that. But life was very different living with my daddy because he also had another wife. He had a wife, which was different because I'm like, this is not my mama. I'm not gonna respect her. I'm not gonna listen to her. Like, so I had a rough childhood. Like, it was very rough for me from getting taken out of one home, going into a whole another home with basically strangers for real because I didn't grow up with them. I wasn't always around them. So once I moved in with my dad, and it's just some stuff that stuck in my head. I remember my dad's exact words: "If you gonna live in my house, you gonna respect my wife." And I was just like, well, I'ma leave. I'ma go. And I left. But I only made it to the backyard. I ain't go nowhere because I'm 10 years old. What the heck I'm finna go? Like, what I'm finna do? But me and her actually became best friends. Like, she wasn't that bad. Like, that's my girl. That's my mama. She raised me from 10 years old until now 30 something years old. So basically she the only mother I know. Okay, so going back into going to court, going to trial, I had to be 13 years old to go testify against my mom. So once I came into the courtroom, they had it blocked off where I couldn't even see her in the courtroom. Mind you, y'all, I haven't seen her since I was 10 years old. I'm 13 years old now at this point. And they had I was sitting in the in the little seat next to the judge desk or whatever, and they had a whole bunch of stuff like blocked where I couldn't even see her, but that was still my mom and I still loved her. So I'm trying my best to like look over the stuff that they got blocking her. I was leaning up a little bit so I could see her, but she was just like shaking her head, trying to scare me with her looks. I'm like, no, let me just sit back because she's trying to convince me not to say nothing. But I had to tell the truth. They had already had my statement from when I was 10 when I first told it. And so if I would have got on that stand and lied, the math just wouldn't have been mathing. So yeah, so after my testimony, they ended up giving her life without parole. She actually requested the death penalty, like she wanted the death chair, but they denied that. They wanted her to suffer. So she actually got life without parole. She would never ever probably see outside of jail ever. She did have a couple appeals. I think you get 3. She did lose all 3 of them. So justice is just not on her side right now. It's just not looking good. So after court was over, they did allow me to briefly speak to her. So I was able to go back into the courtroom and speak to her and talk to her. I thought she was gonna be so mad at me, but I mean, if she was, she didn't show it that day. She didn't show her hatefulness towards me until later on down the line. But I would definitely get in that too as well in my next video. I also want to address some comments that I seen. People said that I should have called the police. Trust me, y'all, I deal with that. I dealt with that. I literally blame myself for years. I still sometimes blame myself. I feel like I could have done something. I should have went and got help. I should have called the police. I should have did anything, but I did not know, y'all. I did not know that that day was going to be my brother's last day. I did not know that beating was going to last all day and he was going to die from it. Like, I'll tell y'all the real cause of his death with the autopsy ruled out on my next video as well too. But y'all, don't go so hard on me, y'all. Trust me, I felt like I could have done something too. I felt like it was my fault. Like, my brother was screaming, "Tisha, help me, help me, help me." And I look back like, dang, I didn't help my brother. I didn't help him. Yeah,